Hi there, welcome back to the YouTube channel, and I'm going to be honest, this is the second time I've recorded this video because I did upload it and I checked it and then I realised my microphone wasn't working at all, so I spent a fair amount of time talking to myself and I was very good. If you were a lip reader, you could have lip read it quite happily, but yeah, sorry. So here we go again. This is going to be the last Edge of Eternity's legend that I'm intending to cover. As I said in yesterday's video, if there's one I've missed that you want me to see me do, please let me know in the comments down below and I will get it covered next week. But for today, we're going to be looking at Memnon, the right hand, 3 double blue for a 3/4 jellyfish advisor. Has flying, can look at the top card of our library at any time, and we may cast artifact spells from the top of our library. But our artifact spells give us the ability to add artifacts when they're in play. We can tap to add blue and spend this mana to cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand. Now, yeah, so we can obviously cast our artifacts off the top of our library because they're not in our hand. That's fine. But we can also do some other things, and one of the things I tried to play around with was the adventures. So there's a few adventure creatures in here which kind of actually help the deck because you're casting them from exile at the end of the day. So here we go. Here's what today's deck really does look like. Starting at the beginning, we have the Planeswalkers, and because we do like having artifacts with Memnon, there's literally no point in having anything apart from the 3 Tezzeret's in here. So Betrayer of Flesh is first. Draw 2 and then discard 2 unless we discard an artifact. Target artifact becomes an artifact creature. If it isn't a vehicle, it has base power and toughness 4/4. And then if we can get the -6 off, which is actually hopefully something we do want to try and do with this, you get an emblem with whenever an artifact you control becomes tapped, you get to draw a card. That sounds good. Tezzeret, there's Artifice Masters here to give us the Thopters, the card draw, and then hopefully the -9, but it's the card draw and the Thopter we're very interested in with this one. And then obviously Tezzeret the Seeker, the original one, untap up to 2 artifacts, search your library for an artifact card with convert mana cost X or less, and then artifacts you control become artifact creatures with base power and toughness 5/5. It's the +1 we're going to be using most of the time on this. If we get the -5 off for a win, all well and good. Creatures, well, 29, starting with Chief Engineer that people seem to forget about from N15, gives all our artifact spells Convoke, so that's quite nice. Drafner, founder of Latnam from Brothers War, bounce an artifact that's been destroyed, or we get to pay an extra 3 for any artifact we cast and then get a copy of it. Emissary Escort just becomes a powerful attacker, hopefully, once we get some of our artifacts in play because of the +X/+0, where X is our greatest mana value. Ethereum Sculptor cuts the cost of our artifacts down, and then the first one of the adventure cards I'm trying out, Hypnotic Sprite. The countering is something at mana cost level 3 or less is pretty good, and then a 2/1 flyer is not bad. Steel Swarm Operator just lets us have another way of ramping out our cards. Akal Pakal, the first among equals. If we've got artifacts entering under each of our turn, draw 2, look at the top 2 cards, one on our hand, one on our graveyard. Animating Fairy just turns one of our artifacts into a 4/4 creature and then becomes a 2/2 flyer when we cast it from exile. Dauntless Scrapbot gives us a lander, and it also basically takes out everyone's graveyards, which, as I've been playing Commander recently on MTGO, is becoming more and more important. Seems to be a lot of graveyard manipulation at the moment, so this will hopefully slow everyone down from that side. Because we're playing artifacts, Emery's a no-brainer, likewise Foundry, Inspector and Metalworker all make sense. From there, Queen of Ice to basically stun something and then stun something again once it deals combat damage to a creature. Again, side Master Thopterist is here because we're playing artifacts, you might as well play this and get those Thopters. Uktas, the Grand Metic, is also in as well. Blue creatures you control, when they become tapped, you get to draw a card and discard a card. Pumps all our other artifact creatures by +1/+1. And we can turn things for either a blue mana or 2 life into blue artifacts until the end of turn. Or creatures anyway, so hey, good for us. Uthros, Psionicist, coming in from EOE, cuts the cost of our second spell down each turn. Arkham Dagson gives us a way of sacrificing artifact creatures off to go and find non-artifact creatures and put them into, non-creature artifacts and put them into play, which has its upsides. Galvanic Draught, either draw 4, discard 2, and then basically have another way of chucking stun counters around once we play it from exile. Phyrexian Metamorph copies that thing that we really need to have copied. And then the Vantress Transmuter put a cursed roll token on the most annoying creature on the board, assuming it hasn't got ward or hexproof or shroud or something or other, and then you have a 3/4 wizard as well, so that's all good. Mechan Assembler gives us a robot token every time we cast an artifact once a turn. Obaya's Attendants makes something really small and then becomes a 3/4 flyer. Again, not a bad creature. And then Sea Hag pumps all our creatures up by +1, well, 2 of our creatures up by +1/+0, and they can't be blocked. And then we can play it to make all of our opponent's creatures really small until the end of turn. Young Blue Dragon and Sand Augury, scry and draw, and then a 3/3 flyer. Edgar, King of Figaro. Now, I'm not doing anything with coin flipping in this deck, I promise you, there's no coin flipping, but it might as well have this card here to draw those lovely cards because of the amount of artifacts we have got in play, so it made sense to have him here. Horned Lockwhale and Lagoon Breach, put something on the bottom of the top of a library that's attacking you and then get 6/6 at some stage. Kappa Cannoneers, a no-brainer because of all the artifacts we have coming into play. Sword Coast Serpent, Capsizing Wave, might as well have this here to bounce another creature card and then have something that's unblockable because of the amount of non-creature spells we will be casting. And finally, affinities for artifacts, Thought Monitors here. Let's get the card draw on the go. That's the creatures taken care of. Sorceries, there's not many and there's not many instants either. I went with Thought, Cast and Echo with Eons because we can, artifacts have the ability to cast spells from anywhere within our hand, and we can flash this back if we need to. And then we've got Secrets of the Key with a little bit more flashback on it for the investigation, Counterspell, Divert Disaster, Mana Drain for the control, Think Twice for a bit of cold draw and the flashback ability, and probably the most important card in the deck, Word of Invention. Can't help but not be happy with this one, especially since we can improvise it out as well. Artifacts wise, well, Elixir of Immortality is here to shove everything back in when it goes pear-shaped. Mana Vault as a game changer, you can drop this out if you don't want it in here, but I've included it because I need to ramp because Memnon gets expensive, especially if they've been killed off. So it made sense to have this one here. Sol Ring, Arcane Signet, Sapphire Medallion, Sky Diamond, Thought Vessel give us some more ramp. Cloud Key, we just choose artifacts and cut the cost of them all down happily. Insight Engine comes in from the EOE commander decks. Now this one I do like, put charge counter on this artifact, then draw a card for each charge counter on it. Yeah, I mean it's 5 mana for 1 card, and then it's 7 mana for 2, 9 mana, you can work it out, but eventually you start getting ahead. Semblance Anvil, just exile an artifact, cut the cost of our artifact spells down significantly. Simulacrum Synthesizer, give us all those lovely golem tokens and a little bit of scrying, colourless construct artifact tokens, but they always look like golem tokens to me, that's how I think of them. And then we get the scry 2 when it comes into play, so it's all good. Uthros Research Craft is nice. Whenever you cast an artifact spell, draw a card, put a charge counter on this spacecraft. Right. And then assume we've got a whole load of artifacts in play, you're going to have a minimum of 5/8, and it's probably going to be bigger than that when it becomes activated at 12 plus station abilities. World Walker Helm, we have ways of creating artifact tokens, so this gives us maps as well, and we can copy something if we need to, so that's always good. Uthros Scanship, draw 2, discard a card, and then flying for 4/4 once we've stationed it for 8. Gilded Lotus for the ramp. The Eternity Elevator for even more ramp, and then even more mana if we can get stationing up to 20. Throne of Eldraine, no brainer because we're in a monocoloured deck. Chimley, the Inner Sun, because, why wouldn't you want to have this in here, in an artifact deck. Pinnacle Killship, and the Magic Mirror. Now, the Magic Mirror is the one I'm not sure about. I mean, we've only got, 8 instants of sorceries in total in the deck, so I'm not 100% sure it should be here. I am seriously thinking about changing this over to Aetherflux Reservoir, because I think it might be more useful for us. So when I get around to playing this deck on stream, this may have disappeared and the reservoirs appeared, and if I do, I'll leave an update down below in the comments so you all know it's happened. Enchantments though, Unstoppable Plans, we can untap all our artifacts and everything else that isn't a land at the beginning of our end step. Efficient Construction, cast artifacts, get Thopters. Mechanized Production, we just copy a Thopter, and hopefully we'll then get there and win the game on our upkeep. So yay. And then Thopter Spy Network, because why would you not be playing this, because we will be controlling a lot of artifacts and then drawing some cards that way. Lands, kept it very simple. Academy Runes, Archway of Innovation, Search Lands with Broker's Hideout, all of the pay 1 lands to go and find islands are here. Inventor Sphere, islands, 23 of them, and then a little bit further down, Uthros, Titanic Core. Yeah, made kind of sense to me. I have this one here. Blue, tap, add blue for each artifact we control. Now, I admit that I haven't got many really efficient ways of doing this. I did think about maybe playing something where we got everyone to draw everything in sight and deck people, but went against it for now. But we'll see how it goes. Again, it may be another change that comes in the deck when I get around to streaming it. But that's it for today. That is my take on Memnon, the right hand. Hope you've enjoyed it. If there's anything you think I should have included, please let me know in the comments. I always struggle with mono blue commanders, which is why they tend to be always the last ones I cover when a set comes out. So if you've got any great ideas, let me know down below. Likewise, if there's anything I haven't covered you want to see covered, again, let me know in the comments down below and I'll get it sorted out at some stage for next week. And yeah, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the share button, help me beat the YouTube algorithm. And I'll be back tomorrow with something that isn't Edge of Eternity. So until then, have a good one. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye bye.